Hi, it's Tristan back with another video, and in this video we're taking a first look at the iFi Pro iCan. This is a headphone amplifier as well as preamp, and I'd like to thank iFi for sending me this out for evaluation. So let's go ahead and take a first look at it. iFi is, I believe, a UK-based company, however their products are made in China. You can kind of see some of the specs here. One of the unique things about this amp is that it's both a solid state as well as a tube amp, and it also has a hybrid mode where you can use both at the same time. So you can kind of cater your sound a little bit to your liking. Also, it outputs a whopping 14 watts maximum. So that's pretty good. It also has a bass boost built into it, as well as a 3D holographic, analog sound sort of setting. So let's go ahead and get this open and we'll take a look at it. iFi always has pretty good packaging, and you've got this sort of sleeve here that kind of holds the box, so they pull that off. And then you've got an outer sleeve. Packaging is almost almost kind of reminds me of Apple in a way. Very good packaging. So the first thing that you see when you open the box is you're greeted with the amplifier pretty much immediately. So this is it here. You kind of have to reach in here through the foam and just pull it out. So there's the amplifier. And then in the box there's things underneath, so you have to reach in here in this hole and just lift it out like this. Inside here you've got your instruction manual. Then you've got your power supply here. So this is the power supply. So this is the external power supply and power cable here. Also, it has a remote control too, as well. Looks like the remote control only has the volume control. It doesn't power the unit on or off or anything like that, but that is still quite handy. So let's take a look at the star of the show here. Again, this is the iFi Pro iCan amplifier, and as you can see, it's not a very huge amplifier here. I wouldn't say it's very heavy as well. One of the unique things, it has this rubber sort of base on it, which is sort of a vibration absorbing base. So if you put it on your desk or table, you can just put it directly on there. So it has this instead of feet. So that's the front panel, and let's look at the back panel. So you have a full assemblage of ins and outs, both single-ended as well as balanced. And this is not a DAC, it is just an amplifier. So that's something to note. You will need an external DAC to use with this, although this is a fully balanced amplifier. Now I mentioned that it's both a solid state as well as a tube amp. The tube that it uses is actually internal, so you actually have to take this apart and open it to replace the tube. But they say that it's supposed to last a really long time, especially if you use this in solid state mode or the hybrid mode, where it's not running the full signal through the tube all the time. And the tube they use is iFi's own, what they call new old stock General Electric 5670. So what they've done is they've actually taken a relatively cheap GE 5670 tube and sort of modified it with their own base to make it kind of into a 6922 tube. And that base also has a little chip in it as well to sort of optimize the sound. So anyway, that's what the tube that they're using, but it's a GE 5670 tube inside there. The build quality in this is really nice. It feels quite solid. As you can see, it's got the aluminum casing, and these things aren't just for looks, they're also vents as well. So they're kind of milled out there. You've got the little holes and stuff. I think it looks pretty attractive. So let's go through some of the controls on the front panel here. It's a very versatile amp, and with really a lot of outputs and inputs as well. So starting here on the left, we've got your input dial. This is going to be whatever you have plugged in on the back, what you want to listen to. So for instance, if you are listening to balanced XLRs, you put it on balanced. Then you've got the X bass switch. It has built-in bass boost, and it's an analog X bass. And this is not really just like a bass booster in terms of level. It's actually more subtle than that, apparently. So you have different frequencies that you can boost here. You have off, 10 hertz, 20 hertz, and 40 hertz. Below that, you'll see a little switch, and that indicates whether you're on solid state, tube, or hybrid mode. So all the way to the left is solid state only, where you're not even using the tube. And when you have it set to that, the tube will automatically just turn off, and you won't be using the tube inside. Then you've got tube mode in the middle, which is only tube and not solid state sound. Then you've got the sort of hybrid mode which is iFi's own method of doing both the tube as well as solid state at the same time. And then this jack is the single-ended output jack where you can put in your 1/4 inch headphone right directly into here, but it also is the left part of a balanced jack. So if you have the balanced type of headphone cable with both the left and the right XLR, you can put them in here and get balanced output that way. Then down here is a 3.5mm single-ended headphone output too, right below that. Then you've got your 4-pin balanced, and you've got the right balanced headphone. And right here it looks like you've got another 3.5mm output as well. So this knob here is what iFi calls 3D sound, and what this does is it's supposed to expand the sound to make it a little bit more wide in your headphones, and you have 4 different levels on that. And then below that you've got a gain switch, 0 dB, 9 dB, and 18 dB. So, depending on your headphones, if you're running really hard to drive headphones, you can actually put the gain up. And of course here is your volume control. This right here is the IR remote sensor, and then this right here is the power switch. So right off the bat, you can see that the front panel is pretty complicated. So when this is sitting on your desk or on your table, this may be kind of hard to sometimes navigate or like control these little switches and stuff, especially these here on the bottom because they're quite small. But in general, you do have a lot of flexibility with this amplifier. And then let's take a look at the back panel again, just so you can get a sense of all the inputs and outputs that it has. So you've got your left and right balanced inputs here. Then you've got 3 single-ended RCA inputs here, and they're just covered with these little rubber plugs here. This is also a preamp, so you have balanced as well as single-ended outputs as well. So if you want to go to a different amplifier out of this, or to powered speakers, for instance, you would use these. And then here is where you plug your power in. It's also got a DC loop out. So for other iFi products, if you want to power them through this, you can just plug into there without having to use a separate wall wart or whatever. So thanks for watching my first look of the iFi Pro iCan headphone amplifier and preamp. For community discussion, see the comments field, and for pricing and availability, see the description field. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.